Hey, it's good to be back with you again. Well, my friend, I'm so glad to be back with you, invited into your house. Hope you grab yourself a cool drink, and you know what, after I'm done here, I'm going to get myself one too. We got a fun painting day. Paper's turned horizontal. We got a nice little drawing, not too strong, but we got a nice one. I always recommend you begin your drawings, or your paintings rather, with a drawing because it makes it so much easier. And while I'm getting started here, all the names of the colors are going to be flashing across the screen so you know exactly what I'm using. Now, here's what's going to happen first. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get out my flat brush, make sure it's all cleaned off. All right, and I'm going to wet all these colors right here. Well, not all these colors, all these shapes. Because you know what? We got to start from light to dark when we paint in watercolors. So you want to start with the lightest color and then paint the darkest color afterwards. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working in kind of a two-step glaze. And we're going to start with the yellow, of course, because yellow is the lightest color, other than white, of course. White, I mean, it doesn't get any brighter than that, but yellow, it gets pretty close. It gets close. All right, let's go down here and get this bad boy. Yeah. Now, the reason I like to wet these is because we do a thing in watercolor called wet and wet a lot of the time. And what that means is, well, we go ahead and we put wet paint into wet paper. And what that does is it kind of creates the joy of watercolor. It makes it feel like the water is just taking control of the painting. And maybe that's not always what you want, but it's what I want today. Okay, let's go ahead and get these up here. Now we're just going to start with a very strong yellow. Ooh, yeah, that's the stuff right there. That's a pretty strong yellow, and you got to be careful. I'm working with really absorbent paper. And what I mean when I say absorbent paper is that the paper dries very quickly. It takes the water off. Well, it doesn't really take the water off, but it takes the water in. And it really dries fast because of that. Now what I'm using here is a little piece of teepee, just using some toilet paper. You know, that stuff your boss puts on the roll at work because he hates you. I just buy this teepee over at, Home Depot, or it's cheap stuff. You can go to the dollar store, go ahead and get some there. I mean, whatever. What we're aiming for here is just a little light yellow to start off with, and then we'll go and get a stronger one. Now this Nicolazo yellow color that I'm using here, we're going to get two for right here. I mean, you might as well paint both of them. You always want to make things easier. Try to make things as easy as possible. You don't want to make things harder, do you? Nah, don't bother doing that. Make it easy on yourself. That's why we're going to paint two at once. See? And be sure you make noises like that. And that way you know it's really working. If you ain't making noises like that, are you really even painting? Ask yourself that. That kid, of course you are. You don't have to make funny noises, but hey, it helps me a little bit, so I do it. Alright, well, let's continue with this. We'll just keep getting that yellow color, and here. I'm gonna go down here, get a little bit of this. Ooh, boy, we put it on strong that time, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Well, doesn't matter if we put it on strong. Here, we'll go over here and get this one too. And why not? Just be sure you lift this a little bit, because we don't want it to be quite so strong right off the bat. Even if it is a little strong, doesn't matter all that much, because in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to appear all that bright. Now we're going to lift this because that's just the way I do. Okay. Now notice when I lift that Nicolazo yellow tends to become a little bit brighter. Isn't that wild? It starts off as kind of an earthy yellow, and then it brightens, doesn't it? It brightens. It's a fascinating color. It's a color that I love using because it's just got a sense of mystery about it. Those are the best kinds of colors, the ones that are real mysterious like. And that's probably why people like dating mysterious people, because they're just fascinating. Maybe. I don't know. Well, that's one for the old bingo card. I don't know if you've been watching a long time, my friend, but if you're new, we got ourselves a little bit of a bingo card here where we just look for things that happen every episode, and then we just call it out when we see it and go bingo whenever people see me doing things like, knocking the paper right off the easel here. This is a madman's way of painting. I don't recommend ever painting like this. You do this, you're crazy. But then again, maybe you're like me. I don't know. Okay, let's go ahead and get a little bit of quinacridone magenta now. Now, Nicolazo yellow and quinacridone magenta are a couple of our favorite colors. And you gotta be careful with a color like quinacridone magenta, because quinacridone magenta, it's very beautiful when you lay it down. It's got this nice hot pink kind of color, you know. It's magenta, so I guess that would be expected. It's got so much blue in it that it almost appears violet, doesn't it? Yeah, it almost does. Here, I'm gonna take off a little bit of that. Actually, you know what? I kind of like the intensity of that, so let's go ahead and keep that. It's just soft enough that it works. Now, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just, I have a way of doing things, so sometimes I tend to just go in and do things without really thinking. Oh yeah, well, maybe this would be pretty good after all. Nah, you know, sometimes you're a creature of habit, and then you just do things anyway. Okay, maybe we can take a little bit off of that. Yeah, maybe just a little bit. There it goes. Now, what we want to do, I'm going to clean off my palette just a little bit here, because we got a bunch of colors we don't really need. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water onto my teepee here and clean off some of this mess I got here from the last painting. You know, I got a lot of mess here. I make a big old mess every time I paint, but now part of the secret of my painting process as I clean this off here, let me just take that yellow too, because we don't really need it right now. Okay, part of my process is that I have a bunch of different colors here all in the same well. So I got, you know, quinacridone magenta and phthalo blue in the well right here. And that way when I mix, I have two colors in the same well already. I don't have to pull them out of the palette. They're already in the well. So it makes it a lot easier for me to paint. And with any color combination that you use a lot, I really, really, really recommend. Here, let me set aside my round brush. Now this round brush and my big round brush here, it's pretty much the same as the little one I was just using. They're both made with natural hairs. And that's a big deal, because the natural hairs make it a lot easier to carry water and paint. And boy, we got a lot of paint left over in this brush, don't we? Maybe we do. Here, let's go ahead and get just a little bit of phthalo blue with a lot, and I mean a lot, of Nicolazzo yellow. We're going to create a kind of a middle green color. We don't want this color to be too bright, I don't think. No, maybe not too bright. Not too bright. Now, as I create this color here, we're going to think hard about what we're going to do next. Because you know what? Some crazy stuff is coming next. Crazy, crazy stuff. We're going to do just a big old glaze, right? We're going to do a big old glaze. Or a big old wash, I should say. I keep getting wash and glaze kind of interchangeably mixed up, when really it's the case that when you lay down a bunch of paint, it's, well, it's a wash. And then when you lay something on top of the wash, then it's a glaze. That's the way it goes. Okay. I'm just getting a little bit of this yellow-green right here. I'm just adding a little bit of this here because, you know, I think that it might be a little interesting to use a couple of different colors as we go through our process. Okay. Let me rinse this off. And now let's very quickly now throw in these greens. Okay. Now, like I say, my paper is really absorbent, so this can be a bit of a challenge, but we're going to try anyway. We're going to give it the old try here. You know, I'm just going to do my best here to wet this whole paper. I mean, there's a lot of space here that we got to fill up with all this green, and believe you me, there's a lot of green on here, my friend. Whew. It would shock you. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some green over here too. You know, just focus on all the big stuff. Yeah, we'll go over here too. Now, imagine there's like lots of little petals and leaves and all that stuff that's kind of just permeating the piece here. And what we've got to do first, we're just going to create a big old mass. A big old mass of all the leaves and the petals and stuff. We're not going to focus on doing each individual little leaf, because that would take forever. And that would be maddening, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy. So we're going to just kind of do them all at once. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay down this wash. And that's going to make this a lot easier. Can you just imagine trying to draw each individual little petal? Boy, I went to college with a bunch of artists who thought that that's what you had to do when you made this sort of thing. And I'm just looking at them going, You're working too hard. Now me, being the lazy man that I am, I go ahead and I just try to innovate these things the best I can. But, you know, sometimes it's unavoidable that you got to paint in that detail. Okay. I'm getting too bogged down here. Let's go ahead and just hammer this in. Okay, my friend, we're gonna, yep. And if it gets to be a little dry, because sometimes when you put these things down, they get a little dry, right? Sometimes they get a little dry. Okay. All right. There it goes. So I'm kind of indiscriminately. The most that I'm really doing here is just avoiding all the flowers. I'm avoiding these flowers. We don't want to paint the flowers this color, okay? But sometimes we're going to have to get a little bit of water on this. Because what happens, because my paper is so absorbent, is that, you know, I wet the paper here, but then it just dries on me, which can be a little bit of a hassle. Which is why I say you might want to paint in a smaller format, or you might want a less absorbent paper, depending on how you feel about your technique. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little bit more color up here. Just scrub it in like this. Okay. And what I might do, now we got to be careful here because we are painting with a phthalo color. We're using phthalo green and a little Nicolazzo yellow. So good luck with that. I know, that's good advice, right? Well, the thing about staining colors, and I know you probably don't know what I'm talking about right now when I'm talking about staining colors. Pretty much, it's exactly what it sounds like. It means that when you put the color down, it doesn't come up so well. It means it sticks around. It's like a long-term relationship right there with someone who's a little too anxious. They move in and boy, all of a sudden they don't go away, do they? No sirree. Okay, let's go ahead and continue this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more of this, and hopefully the paper isn't too dry. It might be a little dry because, you know, that's just the way that this absorbent paper goes sometimes. Sometimes it'll trip you up. Oop, look at that, we forgot ourselves a little something right there. That's okay. You know what, sometimes stuff happens. Don't let it bother you any. Don't let it bother you any. Just keep going. Okay. And maybe we'll go right in there and get a little bit of that. Yeah, why not? And we'll go down here and paint around all this. Boy, I wasn't kidding when I said that there's a lot of different greens in here. Or that there was a lot of green in general. Okay. We might want to go ahead and lift a little bit of this while we still can. Because this color, if it dries, it's going to be painful for us. Okay, I'm going to tear off some more TP here. And I'm just going to... Okay. It looks like we're still good. We're still good. Look at that. Look at that. That's a nice light color right there. Now, the best part of this is that it doesn't go away completely when we do that. A lot of it still sticks around, which is the point, which is why we use these staining colors here. We want the colors to stick around a little bit. We don't want them to go. We want them to hang out. We want them to become friendly. But we also don't want too much. It's a balancing act. That's what this is. That's really that really sums up painting in a nutshell right there. Balancing act. A good analogy if I ever heard one. It's just trying to make everything work together the way you want. Which is a lot harder than it sounds, honestly. But here's where we go. Okay. Now the way we're going to do a lot of these petals here. Alright, let's get a little bit more of this. A little bit more. Okay. Alright. Alright, we got a lot of the green there done. Whew. No pressure, huh? Yeah. Well, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad. Now, here's what we're going to do next. Ooh, I forgot. Okay. Now we got the green looking nice and level, don't we? Yeah, we do. Okay, let's go ahead and maybe get a little bit more yellow on this. And I'm just going to go around again and maybe paint a couple of more things with this yellow color. This Nicolazzo yellow here. And we're going to go right about in here. Okay. Then maybe up in here. There it goes. Okay. And we'll get that. And we'll paint this color. Okay. Just a little bit more in here. All these little areas. Okay. And you know, I don't want to spend too much time thinking about detail. I'm just going to look for little pieces of separation in here and run with it, you know. There it goes. You know, maybe up in here we'll paint a lot of this, actually. There it goes. There it goes. Whew. Whew. And that's how you know things are getting real hard when I start hooting like an owl like that. Okay, I'm going to take a little piece off here, and maybe we'll lift a little bit of all this. Not too much. We want a lot of that color to stay because it's going to make it look oh so vibrant. Oh, so vibrant. Okay. Now things are going to look real nice there, I think. Oh boy, I'm excited. A little too excited. Starting to splash paint all over myself, which is not what I'm going for. I think I might have gotten it on the ceiling right there. That's how you know how fast I'm going. Oh dear. Oh dear. We're not even close to done yet, and I'm already in trouble. Goodness me. Okay. Alright, now let's get this one over here. Okay. And then maybe we'll, yeah, let's go ahead and get this bad boy right here. There, we got some flowers done. Okay. They're not totally done yet. We got to do one more thing to them, which goes against the two-layer rule, but, you know, sometimes you got to add a few details here and there to really balance things out. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Now, all this green stuff is probably dry by now. So here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. I want to create kind of a violet color with my, you know what I'm going to use? You know what I'm going to use? I'm going to use my Pyro Orange and my Ultramarine here, okay? And I am just going to, I'm going to lay down this wash real fast here. Okay. And look for all the nooks and crannies and all that, and get it done fast. Now you want to have about a medium amount of water in this. Now remember, this is just a flat wash, just flat wash. A wash means, again, the color that we lay down first, and then the glaze is the color that we put down over the wash. And when we paint in watercolors, now this is how we do it. This is how we make all those lovely effects and everything. Now hopefully you'll be able to see things, because sometimes the values tend to get a little mixed up when you're painting like this, because sometimes things look about the same value. If you don't know what value is the lightness and darkness of a color, or just the lightness and darkness of objects that you see in a painting. Like you see something really dark, and that's a dark value. You see something that's really like white colored, and that's a light value, okay? That's all it means. You don't have to worry yourself about all this terminology and stuff, because I'll try to explain it to you the best I can as we go along, and hopefully it makes sense. I hope this really makes sense to you. Okay? And look at that, look at that. Look at how fast we're getting, a lot of these little things done over here. Oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you, I'm a little excited. Now we forgot to paint a plant right there, but that's okay. That's all right. Now let's pay attention to what we gotta do here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my liner brush now, and I'm gonna mix up a red color here with a little bit of this quinacridone magenta and Pyro Orange. Now I don't know if you knew this. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But if you mix together Pyro Orange and quinacridone magenta, you can mix red. Did you know that? Isn't that wild? All your life you've probably been told that Red is a primary color. You can't mix it, but turns out you can. Surprise. Yeah, sometimes art will surprise you. Okay, let's just dry brush a couple of things on here. What I mean when I say dry brush is that I'm not using a lot of water when I paint a lot of these little details here. And that means it's going to dry real fast. Now we don't want to spend a lot of time on this, so we'll just go ahead and smack them in, you know. When I say smack them in, I'm just telling you. You want to move fast. You want to move quick, okay? That's going to make these flowers look quite vibrant, actually. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Just like that. And maybe we need a little bit more of this color here. If you need a little bit more, go ahead and mix it. Excuse me. Need to wet my whistle a little bit after this. Need myself a cool drink, like I said. Sit down and have a cool drink just like you. Okay. Now look at that. Now we don't want to do too much. That's the big thing here. We don't want to do too much. It's easy to do too much. You just want to go in and smack it in and leave her alone. Because sometimes you'll be so tempted to go in and just fiddle with it. And you know, I'm guilty of that myself. I like fiddling. I think if you're an artist, fiddling is part of the job description, which is why you need a friend next to you to stop you. That's why they have that popular saying, you know, it takes a couple of people to paint a painting. One person to actually paint and the other person to say, stop. Oh, true words never spoken, I swear. All right. I'll go ahead and do this. And then maybe a little bit right there. You know, a lot of these little details like this, these flowers here, I forget what they're called at the moment. I think they're lilies. You know, sometimes I have a brain fart and I can't remember what things are called, but that's what we're dealing with right here. I'm pretty sure it's lilies. Okay, we'll just go, you know, we'll leave that alone now. Okay, let's feel all this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Got ourselves some nice sand. Not sand, but dirt. Okay. Now I'm going to take my flat brush. And I'm going to go into my mix of Nicolazo yellow and phthalo blue. And here's what we want. Now we want kind of a smooth textured color. And phthalo blue is going to give us that smooth texture. Because you know why? It's not a granulating color. It is not a granulating color. That's very important. You don't always want a granulating color. What I mean when I say granulating is that colors have different textures, all right? And what produces those textures are pigments, because each color contains a pigment, which gives it its pigment texture, which is why, you know, we refer to like pigment textures a lot. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm kind of just cutting in values and stuff right here, and I'm making it up as I go. That's really all I'm doing, is I'm kind of just making up a bunch of stuff. Now, where do you think all the petals and things are going to be? I don't know, but I'm making it up as I go. And you can just twist your brush as you go, and then it just creates all these fascinating little doodads and stuff, where it creates all these lovely little outlines like this. Okay, and that's really all that we're doing. That's all that we're doing. We're really just making it up. I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but this is how we can do it, and we can keep it very simple by doing it. And maybe you just want to create these at random. Create them at random. That's all we're doing. All we're doing. Just say it to yourself. That's all we're doing. All we're doing. Okay? And we got ourselves a nice little pattern right here, don't we? You want to make some of them come together and some of them stay apart like that. And, you know, just play with it. Play with all the little space. There's all kinds of little spaces in here that you can mess around with. Go ahead and make the brush bend to your will. Do whatever you want with it. Just over here on the light side of, say, these flowers, we'll maybe create a little bit more darkness. And then we'll maybe go over here and create a little bit more right here. Just like that. Okay. Maybe there's a little bit in there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll go in and create some right here, and then we'll go right here too. Maybe we can wiggle the brush sometimes and let that take care of things. I don't know. It's really up to you how you want to paint this, right? It's really up to you. Now just let it take you wherever it wants. Let the brush take you wherever. Okay. All right. Got ourselves a little bit of a stem right here. We'll keep that stem too. Yeah, we're moving. We're moving. Whoops. I accidentally got myself a little bit of phthalo green, but if you get a little bit of phthalo green, it's all good. It's all good. Don't worry yourself. Don't worry yourself at all. So there we go. And maybe in here we'll get a few more pieces. There. And maybe we'll create a little spiral thing in there. Why not? Why not? Here. Isn't it just funny how we're using the flat brush and just twisting it around to create all these little things? It's fascinating, isn't it? Well, that's why I keep telling you. I keep telling you, watercolor is one of the most fascinating mediums. It handles unlike anything else I've ever used. I swear. I swear. Okay, we'll just give it a little bit of something right there too. And maybe right here. There. And maybe over in here. Yeah, that's looking nice. Okay. All right, I'd say we got ourselves a nice little pattern right there. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating the way that worked? I am so surprised sometimes by what we can do with watercolor. Okay, let's go ahead and just get a little bit more quinacridone magenta here and just hammer that in. Smack a couple of pieces in right here. Because maybe needs to be a little bit more intense. There it goes. There it goes. Oh, it's so much fun. Here, it helps if you have a couple of different flat brushes ready. And I have two of them. They're both made with synthetic hairs, and what that means is that they don't carry a lot of water, but they spring right back into place. And it might be a little easier to manipulate a natural hair one, but sometimes you want something that springs back into place. I don't know. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of just go right back into our Nicolazo yellow, or not Nicolazo yellow, but Pyro orange rather, and ultramarine. I'm going to get a little bit of the same color, mix it up again, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just splay the bristles like this, all right? I'm going to splay them, and I'm just going to... And I'm kind of just going to let the dry brush take effect here. I'm going to maybe wave it a little bit. And I'm going to create a whole bunch of what look like little patterns of stones and such here. Ideally, you want to splay them out enough that there's a lot of paint breakage going on, okay? And maybe you want to overlap some strokes here and there, and I don't know, maybe right here and right there. Okay. And there's a little bit going on right here, and we'll go right here too. Why not? We'll just hammer a couple of things in right there. Okay. And maybe right here too. That one's kind of hard to get. Here. Let me move myself over here. Okay. Here. Sometimes we got to get a little extra paint. There it goes. There it goes. Whoops. Yeah, occasionally you make a couple of mistakes here and there. Don't let it bother you any though. Just roll with it. Roll with it. Make it the best you can. Okay. I'd say we're well on our way. Let's go ahead and maybe get a little bit extra quinacridone magenta here, and we'll just play around with this flower right here. Dry brush a couple of things in right there. Why not? And then we'll just kind of ignore the fact that we painted a little bit of dirt over it. Okay, there's that. There's that. Now let's maybe go into this color right here, and we'll maybe go ahead and just paint a couple of things in right here. There it goes. And I don't know, maybe right there. We'll just create some indications of like stems and whatnot. Yeah, create some stems like this, just like that. Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Paint over what we just did, because sometimes we gotta do that. There's a little something right there. Why not? If you accidentally go ahead and color over something, just let it go. Let it go. Be free. Take it easy. And if you want, you can maybe mix up a couple of the same color here. And ooh, I don't know. Maybe we'll go up in here, and we'll go up in here. We can also take the color and we'll just maybe make these stand out a little bit more over in here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Because, imagine it like being the light side of the flower. It's got to stand out against all the darkness, And we got to create the darkness in order for that to happen. Otherwise, it won't stand out all that much. Here, we might want to go ahead and get our bigger round for this one. A liner brush might not be the best choice for this. So go ahead, get that little brush. Set it aside. Get this big brush right here. Yeah, this guy's gonna take care of some business quickly. All right. There it goes. Okay. Got a little bit going right there. We'll get a little bit going right here too. Just a little bit more blue in there. Okay. There. All right. I'd say that these flowers are popping pretty well. Not bad. Here, we'll go ahead and create something right there, because who knows? We might want something to pop out a little bit more there. Okay. Now, let's take a look at some of our shadows over here next to all this. Now, right here, we're going to have one shadow. We'll paint that. Just want to get a little bit more. There's a hair in there. That's another one for the bingo card, I think. Every time I get a hair, we got ourselves another addition to the bingo card. We'll go ahead and add some shadows up in here, and I don't know, maybe over in here too. And then right up in here. Oh boy, we still got this guy to go, don't we? Yeah, we still got him to go. That's all right. We'll take care of him. Here. Let me just paint this very quickly. Okay. There it goes. And we'll lift that a little bit. Now we'll go ahead and okay. That's good. And now with that, I think we might have ourselves a finished painting almost here. Maybe we'll add a couple of things right in here. I don't know, add something right here too. Whatever. It's whatever. Alright, I think we're about good here. Let's go ahead and dip our brush into the red that we hardly ever use and sign our name. I'm going to sign it S. Okay, And you can sign yours whatever you want. Use your first name, last name, fake name. Use whatever name. Just do it consistently so people know that you did it and it's your painting. And with that, my friends, I want to thank you for joining me. Really hope you enjoy this. And I'll see you again very soon. Until next time, with love from me to you. Bye-bye.